final sleep schedules, and our friends who turned, quote, quick hangouts into maybe 2 hours of yapping and 10 minutes of actual studying. On a more personal note, I'd like to take my family members, my mom, my dad, my aunts and uncles, and my grandpa and grandmas for sacrificing everything for me as immigrants and refugees, for me to be here at Pleasanton and to have a better life and a better education. So I'd like to thank you guys so much. Around this time, 2 years ago, I received a notification from the US government that changed my life. I had been selected to represent our country in an exchange program to study Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan for 6 weeks, part of an effort to strengthen the, quote, national security and economic competitiveness of America. Soon, I found myself living with a family I had never met, studying at a university I had never heard of, in a country I had never even thought of going to. And I regretted it immediately. Everywhere I walked, it felt like someone was staring at me. Kids would whisper to their parents as I misused chopsticks. Elders would literally pause mid-sentence just to watch me walk by. And a lot of teenagers would comment on my funky hair, not knowing that I could understand every single sentence they said in Chinese. And I never knew I was some sort of celebrity until people mistook me for Trevor Noah, Stephen Curry, and I am not kidding, one time, Kendrick Lamar. I started questioning if they were seeing me or if they were rotating through their favorite list of famous black people. For the first time, I couldn't rely on confidence or words to navigate a situation. I felt completely out of place. But in that discomfort, I realized I had a choice. I could retreat into myself and count down the days until I got home. Or I could lean into the discomfort, embrace who I was, and try to connect anyways, even if that meant making a complete fool of myself. And well, the reason why I chose the second option, it's because of Amador. Amador didn't just teach us how to write essays, solve math equations, and most importantly, the most important skill, creating a presentation at 2 a.m. It trained us to be confident in ourselves. It taught us to speak up even when we weren't sure we were right. Like that one time you confidently answered a question in class, fully knowing that you were wrong, but you had to commit anyways. It taught us to engage with different perspectives, like those notorious Socratic seminars, which ended up spiraling into a full-on presidential debate. And it taught us resilience in the most amateur way possible, absolutely bombing a stats test, walking out saying, that's fine, and then using the stats that you just forgot to calculate how bad that test will drop your grade. And don't forget those late night in and out runs where we sat in our friends' cars, yapping hours on end about our complicated yet fulfilling teenage lives. Those spontaneous after-school library trips that somehow turned into group therapy sessions, and those Friday night games where we conquered the stands and watched Foothill crumble. Because let's face it, Amador is the truly quintessentially Pleasanton school. That's what community looks like. Just like in our football games, our jerseys might have our own number, but we always adorn purple and gold. So in Taiwan, I wasn't just Haben. I was Amador. We are Amador. See, now that I'm saying that, Mr. Norrington, you stole that from me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Now I sound awkward. We are Amador. And when you carry something bigger than yourself, you show up differently. You try harder. You care more. You step up, even when it's uncomfortable. That is the lesson Amador gave us. You are more than yourself. Because as we leave Amador, we're all going to end up in situations where we don't know what we're doing. New schools, new cities, and probably at least one moment when someone asks you why you're so desensitized to fire alarms. And in those moments, we have the same choice: to retreat or to engage, to stay comfortable or to grow. Our class is already filled with incredible talent, decorated athletes, cosmopolitan musicians, international math Olympiad winners, entrepreneurs, you name it. But what will define us is not just what we have achieved, it is how we show up when we don't understand. Congratulations, class of 2026, and thank you, Amador, for preparing us not for just what we know, but for everything we're about to figure out.
Come on, Haben.
Yes.
All right. Now we're ready to get rolling. What you all are really here for. So I'd like to welcome our superintendent, Dr. Maurice Geisels, to join me at the podium.